1 Samuel chapter 3, the prophetic call to Samuel. Now the boy Samuel was attending to the service of the Lord under the supervision of Eli. The word of the Lord was rare and precious in those days. Visions, that is, new revelations of divine truth, were not widespread. Yet it happened at that time as Eli was lying down in his own place. Now his eyesight had begun to grow dim, and he could not see well. And the oil lamp of God had not yet gone out, and Samuel was lying down in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was. That the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, "Here I am." He ran to Eli and said, "Here I am, for you called me." But Eli said, "I did not call you. Lie down again." So he went down and lay down. Then the Lord yet called again, "Samuel." So Samuel got up and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, for you called me." But Eli answered, "I did not call, my son. Lie down again." Now Samuel did not yet know or personally experience the Lord, and the word of the Lord was not yet revealed directly to him. So the Lord called Samuel a third time, and he stood and went to Eli and said, "Here I am, for you did call me." Then Eli understood that it was the Lord who was calling the boy. He said to Samuel, "Go lie down, and it shall be that if he calls you again, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" So Samuel went down and lay in place. Then the Lord came and stood and called as at the previous time, "Samuel, Samuel." Then Samuel answered, "Speak, for your servant is listening." The Lord said to Samuel, "Behold, I am about to do a thing in Israel at which both ears of hearing, who hears, it will ring. On that day I will carry out against Eli everything that I have spoken concerning his house, his family, from beginning to end. Now I have told him, and I am about to judge his house forever for the sinful behavior which he knew was happening, because his sons were bringing a curse on themselves, dishonoring, blaspheming God, and he did not rebuke them." Being passive is never good. "Therefore I have sworn to the house of Eli that the sinful behavior of Eli's house shall not be atoned for by the sacrifice or offering forever." So Samuel lay down until morning, then he opened the doors of the Lord's house. But Samuel was afraid to tell the vision to Eli. But Eli called Samuel and said, "Samuel, my son." And he answered, "Here I am." Then Eli said, "What is it that he said to you? Please do not hide it from me. May God do the same to you, and more also, if you hide it from me anything of all that he said to you." So Samuel told him everything, and hiding nothing from him. And Eli said, "It is the Lord. May he do what it seems good to him." Now Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and he let none of his words fail to be fulfilled. And all Israel, from Dan to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was appointed as a prophet of the Lord. And the Lord continued to appear in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the word of the Lord. It says, listening to God's call, Samuel heard God's call in an audible voice. That experience is not a common one in the history of those who follow after God. While most of us get a sense of a call by some other means, Samuel's experience does help us to understand what our attitude and response should be. Samuel's attitude is one of readiness and eagerness, response with a desire to learn. It is that attitude of listening that was foundational to Samuel through his whole life and ministry. Throughout his life, we see him listening to God's word and following God's directions. He listened for the general will of God and also had an ear for the more specific direction that God gave him. Sometimes he raised questions about why he was doing a particular thing, but the word from the Lord was paramount. He listened for it and responded to it. I know myself, I've heard God's audible voice just 3 times in my life. 3 times where I was like, oh, that was different. But most of the time, it's within your heart, like that inkling. People call it your conscience or your, whatever, where you're just, okay, that's the Lord, and you follow after it. So learning to, because God says he puts a spirit inside of you and you can walk with it and listen to it. That's going to send the comforter, the guide, the director, all of that in your life. And so when you learn to walk with that and do what it says, it's like he's not going to fail you at all. And it's scary because I know I've gone through times in my life where I heard it real well and then it seemed like it was quiet. And I was like, I don't like that place at all in my life. I didn't like being in that place. So to be able to hear, to listen, to be able to walk in it and see his blessings pour out of it, that's a beautiful thing. So, all right, it's a daily Bible chapter reading God's word Monday through Friday. See you tomorrow.